Hi, welcome to the second Toddcast for January 28th, 2012. If you want the context of this Toddcast, it would be best to watch the previous one because I hope I set up the story or gave, again, context for the story that I want to tell today, which was about last night's basketball game, specifically last night's boys' high school basketball game here in my little town. So we're playing a rival team, a team that's been in our conference forever, you know, even before I was playing. And it's a team that's from a very interesting town in a way, and they have a fairly strong basketball tradition. In fact, my junior year of high school, my team was the second best team in the state, and their team was the best. And we played them 3 times actually, and we lost every time, but every single game was only by a couple points. And they went on to beat the hell out of everybody in the state tournament, which was, you know, pretty disappointing to us because the last time that they beat us, it was in the sub-state, to see who was going to go to the state tournament. And again, we lost by maybe a point or 2. Had we won that game, we would have gone on to beat the hell out of everybody and be state champs, but whatever. But yeah, this is a school with a pretty strong sports tradition. Longtime rivals, or you know, yeah, there's a rivalry there. There's a tradition of us playing each other, and you know, they had actually beaten us this year at their place, although that was a close game. One of our stars, this young guy that I am unofficially mentoring, couldn't play because he was academically ineligible. I think, or he's ineligible somehow, and he's now eligible and has been playing. And you know, so we're clearly a better team. We're at home. We barely lost down there. We've been playing really well lately. We could have had a victory. As it turns out, we lost on a shot that went up with less than a second on the clock, and that was the margin of victory. Stunning loss. But there's another story behind it, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. Earlier in the game, down the stretch, it was back and forth in the second half. You know, really close game, and one of our really good players, ironically, one of the guys who's best at getting steals and getting his hand in the passing lane, had a couple passes stolen down the stretch. That was painful. You know, it happens all the time. It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. But one time he got one stolen, and the player who stole it takes off and it's going to go down and, you know, probably make a layup, although our player, you know, he really gives a good effort, did what he should have done, and he got back and tried to stop the shot. Wasn't able to do it. When their player was going up for the layup, he kicked our player. At least I think that's the story. I didn't really see it because one of the referees was in the way. However, another referee, you know, stopped the game and approached this player from the other team, and I heard this say several times, "What were you doing? What were you doing?" or "What did you do?" Something like that. He was, I think, doing the appropriate thing, trying to figure out what was going on, because it obviously didn't look kosher. So you know, there's you know, everyone becomes quiet because there's this scene going on, and the other kid, who'd gotten the steal and did something, said, "I didn't kick him." And I love that. He was like, "Who's asking you? You know what? Funny you should bring that up." That's like somebody with, you know, with crumbs around their mouth, hiding something behind their back, says, "I didn't take that cookie." You know, "Oh, well, thank you for offering that. You know, why would you say something like that?" I didn't kick him, you know. So the ref gets to the bottom of this, which is what you should do. You know, there's something that's gone on. These are young big guys doing a physical thing. Tempers could get out of hand. Most importantly, people could get hurt. Young people in a pedagogical format could get hurt, which is the last thing anybody wants in a school, right? During a school educational activity, because say what you will about sports, it is educational. It's not necessarily important who wins or loses, although that's a big part of the learning process. The ultimate thing is that learning should happen, and even more ultimate than that, learning should happen in a safe environment. So this ref was doing the right thing because that wasn't working out with what had just happened. At least that's what he thought, and he wanted to get to the bottom of it. Interesting enough, there was no technical called. You know, if there's that kind of physical interaction, there should be a technical called. Just to let everybody know that, I mean, that's the way that they let everybody know something has gone wrong. And in addition, you know, it's a really unfair advantage, a dangerous unfair advantage. So to compensate, the other team gets to shoot free throws, and this kid gets a foul. Yada yada yada. That didn't happen. For some reason, he made this player go over and shake the hand of our player. Again, you know, why are you sanctioning this player if he didn't do something that's worth a technical? Their coach made this player sit down. Again, another sanction. If it was for that thing, then this kid, if not only getting a technical, should maybe be asked to leave the game. I think anybody who knows me knows that I do not necessarily see. In fact, I don't think there is a relationship between punishment and positive behavior change or learning. However, I do think that there is such a thing as, you know, you have to do certain actions to make sure that everybody is safe. And a lot of times one of the things is this concept called incapacitation, in which you keep people from being able to do harm. And that's what you're going about. That's what you're doing. So I think for a learning moment, this player who didn't kick him should have been told to sit down for the rest of the game by somebody, not him. You know, he's a young person, right? He maybe made a mistake, maybe didn't, whatever. It shouldn't be left up to the correct moral decision making of a teenager. In this heated environment. There were professionals there, there were adults there that needed to make this decision, either the referee or his coach. And again, his coach did sit him down for a while. And I turned to my buddy and said, you know, if that coach is doing the right thing, he'll sit him for the entire game. For those reasons that I told you. Not that I think this student should be punished or that's going to do any good, but because there's you know, there's physical harm involved here, accidental, whatever. But just to be safe for everybody, this student, this player should have to sit out. You can talk about it to him later, he might feel bad or whatever, but he's going to get over it. If he gets in a fight and gets kicked out for the rest of the year, or if people get hurt, you know, that he's not going to get over that, or that's going to be a lot harder for him to get over. This is, you know, this could have been a teaching moment, but that's not what happened. And in fact, he came back in and he's the one who hit the winning shot. And again, I wouldn't be talking about this had he missed that shot. I mean, no, I would be talking about this had he missed that shot. I wouldn't be any more or less inclined to say this is what should have happened had he missed that shot and we had won the game. I think, you know, out here where they pride themselves on education, or anywhere where people should pride themselves on education and looking out for young people, making sure they're learning the lessons that they should, would have done this. And again, if it turned out that was the wrong decision, it wouldn't have been his decision. It would have been somebody who's been trained to make this decision, whose job it is to do these kinds of things, and maybe they're going to make mistakes. Whatever, that's okay. That can be dealt with. But you shouldn't put it into the hands of these young people. So I think that coach really should not have let him back in. And if he did, I don't see it for the right reasons. If he thought, well, he really needed this guy, and he did, to win the game, that's not right. And in fact, he should have a talking to by someone in administration to make sure that they get it right next time. Okay, running perilously long on this Toddcast as well, but yeah, that's today's lesson in today's 2 Toddcasts for Ball In. Be Toddcasting about other stuff soon. Until then, take care.